Hey sports fans, we're back and today we're here to take a look at the sons of former Ravens great Ray Lewis to see if any of his 3 football playing sons have a shot of unseating their dad for the best football playing Lewis in the family. As one of the most feared linebackers or defensive players in the league for that matter, during his 12-year reign with Baltimore, Ray Lewis solidified himself as one of the football icons of his generation and one of the best to man the middle of the field in NFL history. So his son's got a mountain to climb to say the least, and we're going to check in on their chances of scaling that proverbial mountain. But before we get into that, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. All done? Alright, let's do this. What's in a name? When you're Ray Lewis, that means being 2-time defensive MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 7-time first-team All-Pro, and countless offenses shut down and reduced to average and part of record-setting defenses, and part of the NFL's all-time team. For any of the Lewis boys to stake their claims as one of the best Lewis, they have Mount Everest to climb. Their father Ray is one of the best Lewis athletes of all time, maybe second to only Olympian Carl Lewis, but that's another conversation for another day. Staying focused, we're keeping this video to Ray's 3 sons and their shots of being like dear old dad. Let's start with the firstborn and namesake, Ray Lewis III. This Lewis, who undoubtedly has the most pressure to unseat his Hall of Fame father, Ray Lewis III was a Florida native who naturally caught the football bug because of his football-playing father. A 3-star recruit out of high school in 2013, Lewis III played running back and scored 24 touchdowns his senior year and was an All-American and record-setting running back. When colleges came calling after high school, the 5'9", 175-pound Lewis decided to keep family tradition alive and join the Miami Hurricanes like his dad. After a redshirt freshman year and no action during his second season, Lewis III decided it was time for a change and transferred to Coastal Carolina and also switched positions to cornerback to get more playing time. After appearing in 5 games, trouble found Lewis, who was accused of sexual assault. Lewis, who claimed innocence all along, would have the charge dropped due to insufficient evidence. It was even alleged later that the person involved had targeted multiple athletes. The assault charge itself was out of character for Lewis, who wasn't known for getting into trouble and had even been on the dean's list. Even though the accusations would be deemed false, the team would dismiss Lewis from the program. Following the scandal and a needed fresh start, Lewis III would be on the move again to Division II, Virginia Union University, where he played his final seasons. Lewis never did enough as a college athlete to warrant an NFL look, and after not gaining any interest from NFL teams, Lewis decided to end his playing days and focus on other pursuits. The second son we're going to take a look at is Rashad Lewis. The first-team All-State at Bishop Moore High School in Orlando, Florida. Rashad was a 2-star corner coming out of high school and didn't get many offers from schools. After Utah State showed interest, Lewis accepted and transitioned from cornerback to wide receiver. Rashad was a couple inches shorter than his 6'1" father at 5'10" and checked in at 175 pounds, but was said to be a very physical player on the defensive end, but it was on the offensive end where Rashad shined. Rashad's true freshman year was a very productive one for an 18-year-old, as the wide receiver reeled in 40 passes for 476 yards, both of which were good enough for second in school history for a freshman. Although considered undersized by most standards, the young wideout stood out in a big way, but then, inexplicably, Lewis decided to transfer to Maryland. When the move was official, Lewis tweeted a picture of himself wearing a Maryland jersey with the caption, "New chapter, you ain't gonna understand, just sit back and watch." Turns out this was Lewis's plan all along, as he announced his intention to transfer to the Aggies ahead of his sophomore season and claimed the decision is what's best for him, his family, and his future. Ironically, due to NCAA rules, Lewis was forced to sit out for the 2017 season because of NCAA transfer rules. When Lewis would return to football, it would be at his old position, cornerback, where he posted 17 tackles. After the disappointing season, which was a far cry from the last time he stepped on the field 2 years ago, Lewis switched back to wide receiver where he caught an abysmal 3 passes for 13 yards. Following his 3-catch season and still with a year of eligibility left, Lewis transferred to Kentucky to give his hopes at wide receiver one last shot. It's hard to say what his time at Kentucky will be like since he's only practiced with the team, but there's optimism surrounding Lewis if he could get on the field. The final Lewis on this list is Ray's son, Rashad Lewis. Our third Lewis son grew up playing football and basketball his entire life, up until a knee injury his freshman year made him leave football. Lewis, behind the focus of his other love and less risky sport of basketball. At 5'11", 180 pounds, Lewis is a couple inches taller than his older brothers and was said to be a natural on the court with a ton of promise. After starring on his school's basketball team during his time at Windermere Prep and helping take the team to the state semifinals, Jacob Doss, the school's athletic director, described Rashad as the fastest player he'd ever seen on the basketball court. Doss, who was also serving as football coach, hoped that Lewis would give football a chance again, and entering Lewis's senior year at Windermere Prep, he decided to give football another try because he didn't want to leave any regret out there with the what-ifs regarding football. football. Soon after, Lewis joined the team as a defensive back, kick returner, and slot receiver. The coaching staff tried to ease Lewis back into the fold as he was still overcoming the worry of injuring himself again playing football. But after scoring an 80-yard punt return touchdown on his first touch, the coaches had a hard time keeping him off the field, and he helped lift the team to the Sunshine State Championship game. Lewis wasn't heavily recruited out of high school and ended up walking on to the University of Central Florida as a defensive back. In Rashad's first season of college, he only recorded 4 tackles before opting for a red shirt. Lewis decided to transfer to FAU for a change of scenery and joined other sons of NFL greats Warren Sapp II, Tariq Owens, and Frank Gore Jr. As a redshirt sophomore, Lewis didn't see the field and would spend the last 2 seasons of his college career as an afterthought in his team's game plans. We mentioned that Rashad's brother, Rashad, transferred to Kentucky, but what we didn't mention in 2020 is that Rashad transferred there too in hopes of playing wide receiver. We will have to see how Rashad and his brother Rashad fare in their upcoming seasons with Kentucky, but it looks like none of these 3 Lewis sons that we examined today are in line to unseat their Hall of Fame father, Ray Lewis. But hey, if either of the Lewis boys who are now in the SEC end up playing well, especially Rashad, who had a very promising 2 freshman season, it's possible at least one of them will end up on an NFL roster, and from there, who knows? Maybe we'll be revisiting this little examination on one of the Ravens' great sons stepping out of his shadow and creating a path of his own. Alright, sports fans, that does it for our time on the sons of Ray Lewis and their potential to be great. Let us know what you think by dropping us a comment, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, you know what to do. Go ahead and click that subscribe button to stay up to date on this channel and more videos like this. Until next time, sports fans.